What? How are you? We have some Q&A to do. I hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Hello world, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. And as always, if not, I hope it gets better, because we know we're living in some wild times these days. Wild, wild world. So I hope you all are doing great, and hope you guys are all having a good Friday. Welcome to another live Q&A where you can ask the community and I questions on keeping aquarium fish, shrimp, plants, and fish. And yes, we have an awesome community here. Hello everybody in the chat. I see lots of hellos. Hello to you all you awesome people. Glad to see you all in here. Holy moly, a member off the bat. Now that's nice. It's a good day. Oh man, and I'm probably gonna murder this first name. Kawanu, I hope I said that right. Kawanu Aquatics. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right, I hope you guys brought some questions. As far as things in the fish room, there's always stuff going on in here. If you guys have been following the channel, then you would know that I've been doing more kind of what I do through the daily to give you more of an understanding of some of the things I do here and there, which is always different. There's so many different tasks at hand here at LRB's crazy fish tank land. Man, it is warm in here. The weather has been nice though, so I'm hoping to get outside tomorrow and be able to work on those walls out there. With the weather, it was up in the 60s, 70s. Got some Neo coming in the mail. Any tips for acclimating? Andy M. So as far as acclimating neocaridinias, what I would do is make sure they just get to the room temperature and then just kind of plop and drop them. Because sometimes you can add more stress to a fish or a shrimp just by keeping them in that small container for too long of a period. And then they're usually a tiny volume of water. People usually mash a bunch of fish into a tiny volume of water. Yeah, you're adding a little drip of this here and there. But at the same time, I have seen some issues with that. I just now anymore just plop and drop, as long as the temperature is good. Now, if there's a temp change, you can shock them. That could cause problems. But for Neos, yeah, I want to drip acclimate them. Hey Lucas, did you find some Bloody Mary shrimp? Asked Jerry. So Jerry, I have not yet. I had a few people mention it to me, but I haven't actually pulled the trigger on anything. Haven't even had the time to be able to reach out to anybody for anything. Things have been crazy busy around here. And I have not, but I am still looking for sure. I will eventually put more effort out towards that here once I get a chance to. Just because, I mean, I love my fire reds. My fire reds are still nice, don't get me wrong. But the Bloody Marys can be nice because they have more of a consistency throughout the color within their body, opposed to it being relied on the shell. My Reneki is losing its leaves. How to prevent? So often, especially if it's new, it's very common for it to lose its leaves because they will grow those out of water. I'm not sure what kind of form it is. Usually if it's in a real long stemmy kind of form, that's its grown out of water phase. If it's short and bushy, then you probably got it in more of a underwater stage. And really you just gotta have a good enough light for that stuff. That stuff likes a lot of light, as far as in my experience. And it does like its CO2 as well. Show us those cool trout fish in the big tank. I can do that. We'll just flop you guys over here. I'd rather be on my feet anyways, to be honest. The glare, the only thing bad about having these lights up here is the glare. Now I could put something over it, but that adds a lot of work. I like to be able to have my tops open and not so imprisoned and be able to get to where I need to. But it's still alright, especially in person. It makes it look so much better. Alright, here we go. Lucas, do you keep tigers with any neos? So I personally don't, but I know a lot of people who do. So you can do it. You can get away with it. I actually have some crystal reds and some neos together right now in the newt tank. And that's got that substrate that I got from Tanner of Serper Design. And it's got a lot of acidity to it. Humic type of plants like sphagnum moss. Some other things. So it'll be interesting to see how that takes place. I need to put some more crystal reds in there and see if they'll actually breed. Newt's not quick enough to eat them all. Which was really cool. I saw that newt actually shedded his skin this last week. There's a big old glob of newt skin left in the tank. I didn't get it on film. I should have. And I don't always have time to film everything. Samuel Day says, hey, any tips on raising, feeding new threadfin rainbow fry? Can't get out of the store due to the quarantine. So they are tiny little things. I would recommend some infusoria. So you could take some aquarium water and like either dog food or something like dry dog food, put a little bit of it in the bottom of a Coca-Cola bottle, Pepsi bottle, whatever, little 12-ounce bottle. Let it stay in there for a little while, and then it'll grow this nasty infusoria stuff, and fish will actually eat it. You can find videos on how to make it. Or you could try green water out, and making that is a little trickier than actually making infusoria. Man, I need to do so much tank maintenance around here. As you guys can see, I'm getting a lot of BBA trying to grow around. There's these little black tufts here on the glass. It's all BBA trying to take hold. But man, these guys have been devouring all these plants. Somebody give me a super chat. I did not see that. I hope I don't miss this. I need to get out of top chat. There we go, get in the live chat. There it is. Joel G, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. It says, hoarders represent. Right on, brother Joel G. I appreciate you, bro. Glad to see you in here. That was early on. That was before the, it even kicked on. Seems like there was another one because it says 3.1, but I've only, that was 2. I don't know. Sorry if I did miss your super chat. Obviously, it was not on purpose. LRB Aquatics, Phil Whitley says, got a 2-foot tank, 88 liters, and thinking of maybe getting some sparkling gouramis. Any decent tank mate suggestions? So sparkling gouramis can actually get along with a lot of fish. You got all your tetras, your little rasboras, white cloud minnows, golden white cloud minnows, even dwarf neon rainbow fish. Anything that's smaller towards their size. The sparkling gouramis, they like to just hang around the surface of stuff. But it is cool to see them in their own tank too, because you're going to get different behavior if you only have a sparkling gourami tank. Because they'll feel free to go wherever about without being hindered by any other fish. And you can actually breed them too. If you get like a clay pot and turn it on its side, they'll make a bubble nest on the clay pot arch, and then they'll lay their eggs up into the clay pot. Now you got to get the water pretty acidic to get them going. I have bred them before. The babies are real hard to breed out. Yeah, Pygmy Corey's GRB Aquatics says, yeah, that would be a good choice too. HC Aquatics says, I just threw a bunch of sparkling gouramis in a tub. I heard they could breed like crazy in there. We shall see. They do like that soft water, so keep that in mind, HC Aquatics Aqua. Can you keep guppy fry and cory fry in the same tank? Depends on the cory fry size, because some of those the cory fry can be really small. I mean, anytime you think about putting fish in together, it's often, is it a territorial fish? And can it keep, or can it fit the other fish in its mouth, or actually hinder some damage to it? Do I have purple shrimp? I've got some purple shrimp floating around here somewhere. I got them floating around somewhere. I mean, just like these killifish. A lot of people don't think you can keep killifish with regular fish. Man, that is terrible lighting. Can you show me some buche? I think there is. Yeah, here's one right here. I've got this one. I think it's a satang. I'm not sure though. They got all kinds of names for them, but it's almost reaching to the water right now. This Brazilian pennywort's going absolutely crazy though. Look at it growing in this cup. So I usually use that cup to grab eggs, and I haven't grabbed eggs in a long time. So now it's like a little terrarium. Happy little accidents, right? Bob Ross would be proud. Any air stones on your tubs? So no, my tubs are actually what motivated me and inspired me not to run air stones on my tanks either. As you can see, there's no air line, it's just the water lines. Because they all did great and did fine without it. So I didn't really need it in here. How big do hill trouts get? I would say, let me see here. Pull out the trusty tape measure. Hey, hold still, come here. Hey. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm gonna have to just hold still here myself. I would say probably about yay big, 4 or 5 inches. That's what I would say. Maybe bigger, let me see. Oh, not trained that well, right? Yeah, I would say about 4 or 5 inches tops. 4 or 5 inches is bigger than what you'd think. Man, they do not like this tape measure. Rawr. Act like I don't feed them well. Jeez. These things are pigs. They're always eating. Look at them female cherry barbs just cruising up with them. And you know, that's a big size difference between all those fish. How do I get out of this? Oh, okay. And sorry if I'm missing any of your guys' questions. Obviously, I can't get to them all. Make that tape measure red, right? It's pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys saw Oddball Aquatics video. She taped a bunch of different colors of tape onto a pin and put it in the water, and they attacked the red. Like, they instantly attacked the red. They ignored all the other colors and went after the red color, which was really interesting. Probably why they like the tetracolor tropical granules, because they do have that more red orange color. You could see when they got towards the pink color, they started attacking it. Like something about that red. And thank you so much to the Chubby Guppy. I appreciate you. Throwing down a $5 super chat. Says, Lucas, what does dual carbon block do for TDS? Upgrading from tap to RODI for my shrimp, but want better water for my guppies. Tap is about 275 ppm. So as far as the carbon block, I don't know how much it's actually going to take away from your actual TDS. That's more for getting like some of the bigger sediments out, and also chlorine, chloramine. Now, it is good to run your water through a carbon block before you run it through any kind of like RODI or RO system, for sure, just to save on your filter. So it should definitely help with your RODI water. But if you're running it through the RODI only 275 ppm, you don't have a whole lot to take out. So it sounds like you're on the right track as far as running an RO water system. All right, let's head on down to this tank because, I don't know, I want something else to look at. Scrolling for questions. Lady Aquatics, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says 2 questions. First is, what temp does it need to be outside for you to put shrimp in tubs? So as far as if I were to start putting shrimp out there, I would say mid to low 50s at night and 70s during the day. Now I don't know what kind of or what state or climate you live in, but we in Indiana get huge fluctuations. We can get fluctuations of 40 degrees all the time. Is that had to have been born in here? What? The thing is tiny. I have not added any cories in here for a long time. Weird. Man, that BBA is getting crazy. But yeah, I would say as long as it's like as long as it stays warm during the day enough to warm up the water that the water can have some radiant heat for the night, they can adjust to that and be used to it. I've seen shrimp actually crawling underneath ice before. So they can handle cold temperatures and hot temperatures. I've seen them at 100 degrees too. Man, I gotta do my top offs in here. Wonder if the ants are still hanging out. No? No ants today? Oh yeah, here's some over here. Hard to see down there, but they're all hovering around some granules. Lady Aquatics, thank you so much again for the super chat. Another one, throwing down $5. Thank you, thank you. So second question, can I put shrimp in tubs with white clouds and zebra danios? And thank you. So you probably can. Now, as far as how many shrimp you'll get out of it, will not be as much as if they were by themselves. I'm looking for a rock pile here, a better rock pile. Let me take you guys over here. But if you put a rock pile in there, such as like this, where you've got a ton of rocks just kind of piled up, you can even get smaller rocks as so. Those shrimp will actually colonize in those rocks. Oops, just hit my pump on. And the females will feel safe to make their babies and everything there. And it keeps the fish from predating on them and being able to get into those cracks for the baby shrimp and stuff. But thank you so much for the support, Lady Aquatics. I appreciate you big time. And I hope that helps. So you can do it. It's just a little tricky. You got to do a little extra to get away with it. And holy moly, Dana Harris, thank you so much for a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. That is awesome. Awesome. Ah, thank God it's Friday, right? Even though it doesn't matter to me because every day is the same. It has been a busy week, and I thank you all for your orders and your support, definitely. But we moved most of the goal is to get more killifish out there for you all because I know they can be very, very hard to get. And once again, sorry if I'm missing your questions, but I do my best. Tony Romani, thank you for your order. Glad your shrimp came in and you're happy. Man, with that dehumidifier off in this garage too, it always gets super humid. Starting to warm up though, I can't complain. At least it's getting warm outside and my space heater will hopefully be turned off soon. And if you got a question too, really important that you throw a question mark behind your question so I know it's a question. Brian Kennedy, do you think I could keep filament barbs outdoors in a tub for summer in Ohio? You could, but you're definitely gonna wanna put some kind of top on them. And I don't recommend any type of netting. You're gonna want like a harder top. That way, I've actually seen them get caught up in netting and it act like a gill net. So you're gonna want to put a top on them because they can jump and they will jump. And unfortunately, I've learned that the hard way with the Simless. Do I have any more Achilles? Asked Kawanu Aquatics. I do have a couple pairs left. Not many. What's your least favorite fish? Probably the Chinese algae eater. Even though it's really good at cleaning algae, they're not nice fish, and they're super hard to catch. Depending on the size of the tank or whatever. How hot can rainbows withstand? Worried about putting them in the summer tubs. They can withstand pretty hot, like 90s. Yeah, as long as it's not like a consistent heat all the time. And they're gonna wanna eat more too. When it gets hotter, anytime that it's hotter too, remember that they're gonna wanna eat more often when it gets hotter, which doesn't mean like overfeed them a lot, maybe feed them more frequently, not feed them more. But feed them more frequently because their metabolism is gonna be going with that heat. Because it's just energy moving faster with heat. And same thing with shrimp too. What's the difference between Philippine fern and needle-leaf fern, Java fern in your shop? So the needle-leaf is more of a thread, more of a skinnier leaf on a Java fern, and the Philippine fern has more of a wide broad leaf and kind of like this crumble look to it. If you look up the ferns on Google, you can actually get pictures of them. I'm surprised I thought I had pictures of those on my shop. Like the Achilles, I didn't do pictures because I made the video and I knew they'd already go by the time I even got pictures on there, and that's a lot of work to do a photo shoot for all those fish. Especially when you got hundreds of tanks and only so much time in a day, and a family, and all that stuff. Everything fish and what all is going on. What crazy fish would you put in a 14-gallon cube aquascape? Man, there's a lot you could go with. Darios, killifish, CPDs, little tiny cory cats, abetta, rasboras. There's some tiny little rasboras like the embers, chili rasboras, little cobodide tetras, or I think they're rasboras now. There are some tinier tetras too you could do. Tips on raising mosses in low lights. So most mosses do prefer low lights. Often we'll put too much light on them. And it depends on how low light you're talking too though. Some need at least an adequate amount. And it's really hard to say by lumen power unless you're actually got a lux meter and stuff and going through all that. But I don't think you'd ask me that question if you are. But I would say around 4,000 or 5,000 lumens would be good for raising mosses. Dehumidifier runs my electric through the roof. Yeah, I try not to even think about my electric as far as like what's doing what. I'm just like, I know I need it and I know I need to pay for it, so it is what it is. Moonstone Candy, thank you so much for posting up stuff. You are the best. I love you, Candy. Keep up the great work, and thank you. One of the aquarium hobby fish tubes ultimate assets, Candy overhauls. Moonstone Candy, tell us about the tip jar. How is that better than a super chat? Well, Moonstone, thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for the information. Yeah, tip jar, I do have a tip jar on my website. If you don't want a super chat and pay YouTube a portion, you can actually tip jar me on my website. And thank you for mentioning that, Moonstone, because I don't push that stuff myself. But it is definitely appreciated, especially with what all's going on I mean, you know how it is out there. Jetty J, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Glad to see you in here again. It says love looking forward to Friday's Q&As. Do you have any pool sand substrate? Do you recommend it? Having a hard time cycling those types of tanks. So with the pool sand, really, I don't know. I never really had any problem with any cycles for it. It's just you got to give it time, or you can just go ahead and start the cycle with some other tanks, sponge dirtiness, you know. As far as like any specific brands, a lot of them are different depending on the region. So they have different suppliers. Now you get into like the play sand and stuff like that, that could actually be a lot more work, takes a lot of time to wash out. The pool sand's really not that bad. I would say just give it time to settle. I'm not sure why it's giving you a real hard time to cycle it. Moonstone, thank you so much. I'm guessing that was a tip jar. I appreciate you throwing in $15. Thank you, thank you. And Jetty J, I wish I could give you a better answer on that, but I would just say you just got to give it some time if it's not cycling yet. Chubby Guppy also says, I have trouble with pool filter sand as well. I added crushed coral and it seems to help. Interesting. Interesting. I like to use that Carib Sea natural sand, that Tahitian moon stuff. Always worked well for me. They have like a black sand too. I'm not sure what it's called, but I've never had any luck with it, which is weird. You would think sand is sand, but not always, I guess. Oh, there it is. What are some options for getting rid of planaria? So you got your Pancure Sea Dog Dewormer. That's what I would use. And a Friday Night Live Q&A would not be a Q&A without this question. But you use Pancure Sea Dog Dewormer, 0.1 gram per 10 gallons, wait 72 hours, do 25% water change, and then repeat it until they're gone. And besides that, that's, unless you want to use fish, that's about your best option. And keep in mind, that can kill mystery snails or anything that has a body such as a worm. But besides, I mean, that's all I've ever used, and it's always worked like magic for me. Cichlids23 wondering what to do with my, oh, you're talking about learning to fish. Oh, Scrolling. Looking for them questions. I'm a bare bottom tank guy. Bare bottom. What? And I read that. Let's see. What's the talk? Dana Harris says, one of my mascara barbs got beat up the other day. I really like that tank you got, Dana. That tank is really cool. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's got killies, those barbs, rainbow fish and stuff. That's right up my alley. But he says, one of my mascara barbs got beat up the other day. Have you had this happen? They otherwise get along well most of the time. I don't know. Maybe he said the wrong thing. Fish definitely have a social hierarchy, and they definitely create their own society within their tanks for sure. So sometimes fish will make another fish mad, and stuff can happen. Like here, actually, now that I'm at a distance and I've already gave these guys just a little food, they're going really spastic, especially the hill trouts. Let me try to zoom in here. It won't be the best hill, oh well, there you go. It won't be the best quality. You can at least see them running around here. But you know, maybe somebody got out of line, they just put them in order. And I have had random deaths. Matter of fact, we were doing a Fishocracy series of this tank where there was a couple mysterious deaths where there was just some battles going on, and they've been together for a long time, no problems. But the best thing to do is just keep an eye on them, observe their behavior. Then maybe you can find out who's doing what to whom, and then try to fix it that way by either separating them, maybe feed them more, maybe find out what the aggression's for. So I hope that helped. All right, and I'm back on that. Thank you, Candy. You're amazing. Any tips for keeping rhabdomycentris? So that's a type of rainbow fish, and I hear they like softer water. So unlike most rainbows, where most rainbows do not mind what type of water parameters you keep them in, the rads do actually prefer soft water, soft acidic water, like more of the black water type of fish for breeding and raising. But really cool fish. They're like half red, half blue. And holy moly, we got Kaler's Aquatics throwing down a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Kaler's Aquatics, Bob. Lucas, what were the Lagos Red eating? Water parameters, thanks. So they were actually eating on the granules. I was feeding them a mix of black worms, blood worms, and then granules. But I would feed them like only every other day. So they weren't eating that frequent. But thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And as far as the water parameters, they do like more of the soft acidic water for breeding. I was keeping them probably around 200s, like 250 maybe. I'm not really sure. I was just mixing tap water and RO together and just kind of guesstimating everything, because you know, after you do this for so long, you can kind of just guesstimate all that stuff. You're like, oh, here's a little tap water, oh, here's a little RO water, should be in between here, and you know, it just works. I don't know, but I'm guessing it was around the 200-ish mark. But they could live in probably pretty much any water type, as long as it wasn't like super duper hard. That may become a problem, and I mean like 500 plus TDS, but I don't know for a fact. But definitely in lower TDS, that can almost live in no TDS, probably. Look at these barbs, they gotta be breeding in there. I wish that glare wasn't so bad. I could always do this, shut this off, and we can see that tank here. But hopefully that helps, Bob. Oh, here we go. All these fish are freaking out on the other side. They're like, what? We haven't been fed yet. Why are the lights going out? They're all freaking out. They're like, we have not been fed. This cannot be real. All right. Dan Aquatics, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Says, what's up, Lucas? How are you, my man? Or how are you, man? I am doing good. I'm hanging in there. Staying busy as usual. Never bored, that's for sure. I hope all's good with you and Danny. And thank you so much for the support. And the Sunday, to get to your message you sent me, we'll have to do that some Sunday. I just got to try to get some time here and figure out when a good Sunday will be. Maybe this Sunday coming up, we'll see. I just didn't want to say anything in text yet, because I didn't want to solidify or confirm it. But thank you so much for your support. And Andy M, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. It says, thanks from Canada for keeping us entertained. Well, you're very welcome, and thank you so much for supporting me and yeah, keeping me motivated with that support and super chat. I appreciate you, Andy. And I hope all is well in Canada. I do try to stay up with what all goes on in Canada, too. I know it's pretty wily over there. Hey, Lucas, best advice for hatching Corydoros eggs. So, they can vary on their hatch rates depending on the Cory cat. But as far as hatching them out, best thing I would say is to keep them in a nice mature tank that has beneficial mulm, a lot of microscopic organisms in it, like cyclops and daphnia and all the good stuff. Like, I'll keep some of these tanks where they don't have anything in them for like a couple months, and then I'll throw like my eggs in there, and then that's what my babies will eat off, all the microorganisms. Matter of fact, I had my Venezuelan red Aeneas Corydoras lay eggs today, and I collected them today. So coming up in one of the in the fish room videos up here soon, probably be this weekend, will be that footage, and I'll actually show you what I do with them. So I took them, I spread them around the different tanks, because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, you know. And there's so many ways you could do it too. And it depends on the system you're working with. Some people got nice fancy systems where they can drip water down, like Dean's Fish Room. He's got these little trays and shallow tanks, because the Corydoras, they really don't need much depth, and it's best to do it in a more shallow tank, for sure. And then feed them just small stuff. You putting eggs in baskets, so I don't usually use the mesh baskets, the hang-on breeder baskets or anything like that. I've never really had any luck with those. Lady LRB, it is 0.1 grams for the pancuracy per 10 gallons. World Aquarium, oh, here we go. Scrolling. I asked you once, what's your favorite aquarium books? And you said you might do a video on the bookshelf. Did you ever do this? So no, I did talk about doing that at one point. I have done it a long time ago, like maybe 2 years ago. I did a live stream, so it wasn't that great. And the quality wasn't that great. But I do need to redo it and actually go through my books and my favorites. It's hard to say just one favorite. But that one breeding book I was making my spawning mops on in a couple videos back is one of my favorites, as well as Heiko Blair's Biotope book. And then a couple other ones. Hey, I think I'm caught up and at the bottom, so if you got that question, I may have that answer. If not, somebody else may have that answer. And yeah. Kelpie G says, my established tanks always get diatoms and my plants get covered by it too. How do I get rid of it? So often that happens with newly cycled aquariums. Sometimes you just let it take its time. For instance, these ones behind me really had a bad problem with it. Look at all those dwarf neons. Now that the light's out, they're all hunkering down into just a ball. But yeah, it just takes some time. More plants. Do your water changes. The only thing you can really do is scrape it. And as you do your water changes, usually diatoms, that's a good sign that you're on the right track to cycle in your tank and that water maturing. Now, when you do your water changes on those newer tanks that you do have diatoms in, don't go in doing huge water changes. Scrape off, remove what you can. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then do like a 25% water changes. And then as that aquarium molds, or not molds, but grows and forms into more beneficial bacteria, then you'll have more luck on controlling all that and your tank balancing out. Hope that made sense. And if you got another tank too, if you can get like a dirty sponge or something, it can speed up that process. And if you squeeze it in there. Kaylor's Aquatics, thank you so much for a $10 super chat. I appreciate you, Bob, once again. It says, Lucas, are you still exploring breeding cleaner shrimp? What rainbows are coming up for sale soon? Thanks. So if you're talking about those cleaner shrimp for saltwater tanks, I would still like to do that at some point. I mean, right now, like we were planning on moving to the island in the Caribbean and stuff, but like you can't even fly down there now. So I'm so confused on what I'm to do because my direction plan has changed. So I am doing what I can around here, but I just don't know when I'm gonna actually get into those shrimp. But I would love to at some point for sure. And what rainbows are coming up for sale soon? Thanks. So I have been wanting to do an auction site for quite some time. I've still got to figure that out. There are a few I've got coming up. I don't really want to say too much on them though. I mean, I am sitting on some Bowman eye, some maculosis, and some Goldie eye decay, and some Amare eye, and a few other ones. I need to find homes soon, so I've got to do something with them. But I appreciate your help, Bob. Thank you so much for the support, Kaler Aquatics. Do you work with small killies like pseudomugils? So pseudomugils are actually types of rainbow fish, which kind of look like small killies and can be really colorful like them. But I have bred and kept a lot of pseudomugils, and they're like the bigger rainbow fish. They don't really care about water parameters so much. Besides the Cyanodorsalis, it prefers more brackish water for breeding. And if you want to know how to breed rainbow fish, I got a breeding list and some really good videos on breeding rainbow fish. Usually with most of the rainbow fish, if you breed one, you can breed the rest. That lighting is so much more bright today. Let's flip you guys around. We can just gander in here. Oh, this is actually really comfy. I could dig this for sure. Oh, let me post up. There we go, all posted. What would cause a male discus to not fertilize eggs? Proven breeding pair. I don't know. Old age, maybe. It gets the best of us. Hard telling. T-Hop, I am in need of a couple male Bosemani rainbows. Where might I be able to find some of Gary Lane's strains? You can try contacting them. I don't know. I don't have them myself. There is a group page on Facebook called Rainbow Fish USA, I believe. And he often gets on that page. And maybe somebody else on that page could point you in the right direction. Or you could even try oddballaquatics.com, which is Eric Bodrock. He may have some. Rainbow Fish Live is where Gary hangs out. Okay. I know there's like a couple of them. I'd eat all those fish, to be honest. I mean, you know, I don't know. If it came to, I mean, because I'm going to run out of food for these guys before I'm going to run out of food for me. I'd share my SpaghettiOs with my fish. Oh, Mike Stombog says Steen Found Aquatics has Gary Lang's rainbow fish. And Candy Orhals, thank you so much for posting that Facebook group. Man, she is on it. DK Law says TDS on a 5-gallon with plants, tetras, and shrimp, 140, but my tap is 450, and my other tanks are even higher. What can make the one tank so much lower than the tap? So depending on what you have in there, some of the times the plants can actually absorb some of the nutrients and minerals or whatever. And also if there's anything acidic in there, it can break down that TDS and drop it too. So I don't know, to make it drop so low, that's kind of crazy. I don't know what you got going on in there. But I've never had that issue. And maybe double check the testing of it. Well, thank you, Juan. Is there no filter on that tank? Correct, there is no filter. Well, there is this power head with the sponge on it, but it's so clogged up right now that it's moving, but it's barely moving. You can see there's a tiny little current just barely spinning that stuff. There goes that Pandagara. And then more Panagaras. But yeah, there's no filter on here. Man, it looks so much better up close. Hello, yes, I see you. I get this light up in front too. You really want to display your fish real well too. Bring your light forward on your tank. That way when they do come up to the front of the tank, bam, it becomes so beautiful. Lighting can go a long, long way with the display of a tank. I mean, I could have way nicer setups if I had less tanks, but when you have so many tanks, like, you got to balance your effort with all the tanks. So, it's okay. Do you breed the pandas? I don't breed the pandas, but they're definitely on the bucket list. I just don't think they're old enough yet. I've seen some that Regina Spotty had that were huge, really fat. And these guys aren't quite there. So it may be a maturity thing. I've had them for a little while now, but maybe not long enough. Scrolling. I love the Panagara. Ever freak you out when they feed on your hand? No, not at all. I've never actually had them do that to me personally, just because I've always kept them in a bigger body of water than it would take for them to actually come to me. They would actually go away from me before they came to me. But I have had like fish and shrimp that do that. You know, it tickles. What is your KH? Maybe too high and then it's stroke, correct? I like the blue one. Yeah, the blue one is pretty. It's legit. But, I mean, that goes to show. I mean, you buy a $10 discus, you're going to get a $10 discus. You buy a $50 discus, you're going to get a nicer discus. I learned that with discus. Discus. Let's see. Oh, I think I'm caught up on questions. Could this be true? Holy crap, it's already been 47 minutes? This has got to be like the quickest live stream. Can't believe it's been 47 minutes already. Get that close-up shot. Look at those scales. Always thought it'd be cool to do like a fashion line where you do like the different skin designs of fish. There's all kinds of different ones, especially with like saltwater. That would look awesome. Where you just take not the whole, but just part of it. Like, come here, guy. Like, even on his forehead, see how it's like meshed? Pretty sweet. Look at his face. How awesome is that? You gonna breed the hill trouts? I would like to try. It looks like they're substrate breeders though, so it was really weird when I saw them spawn in the Eco Complete. Cooley Cab says, hey LRB. Oh, whoa, wrong button. I'm thinking of getting some bamboo shrimp to add to my 20-gallon. It's unheated and hangs around 68, 70 degrees. Would this be good for them? Any general tips to keep them thriving? So I've never actually kept those myself and couldn't really tell you. So hopefully somebody in the chat can help you out, and I'll try to keep my eyes out for the person who helps them with that question and to share with all those who are listening to this Friday Night Live Q&A. What's the beautiful yellow discus called at LRB Aquatics? The yellow one is actually, I think he was supposed to be albino, like a snow white one. This light actually is more of a yellow hue to it, so it does make it look more yellow. The orange one's supposed to be like a pumpkin, but yeah, you see there it's more white. But it's not albino because it still has black eyes. It's just the light's yellowish. That's why if this guy was actually down here, it would probably look better. Why is there two unlinks? Because haters gonna hate. Because they ain't got a 240-gallon fish tank. And they're mad about it. So mad. Hard telling. Pothos. Trying that. Which is just growing. a little bit. Come on over here, guys. Over here. Yes, yes. Over here. Food, food, food. I bought Aquatics, got more blue Gularis eggs today. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. My favorite fish. Speed reading, speed reading, speed reading. Will forktail rainbows eat my cherry shrimp? Possibly. Keep you a rock pile, create a bunch of rocks in a pile. That would help protect them. But yes, possibly they could. Hey LRB, how often do neon tetras drop eggs? They could drop eggs like, I think every day, I believe. They breed out a ton of eggs too if you really get neon tetras going. It's like every day or every other day. Glad you guys got fish to look at while I can scroll. No question. How fast did you grow your channel from 0 to current sub level? You know what? I don't know, but it feels like forever. I'll tell you that much. I know it's been a couple, maybe a few years. I don't know. I try not to pay attention to time too much because time's just going to happen. You're going to do what you got to do. And I'm not that great with numbers anyways. I got a real photographic memory. Not more of a, I think they call it a spatial memory. Spatial. So I don't know. It's been a little while. I've had the channel for a lot longer than I actually have been YouTubing though, for sure. Because I used to just be a viewer. Then I was forced into YouTube by Facebook. Because Facebook is full of tyrants. And I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the operators. The people are good. I like the people on Facebook. There's some really good groups on there too. I just don't have time for Facebook either. I do have a video that explains all that as well. Would pandas bother shrimp? So I'm not 100% sure yet on that one. Have not tested it, but I do have those pandas up in the 125 upstairs. I could try it on them. But at the same time, I don't want the shrimp to have the possibilities to eat the pandas' eggs either if I do get them to breed up there. What are you doing, Barbs? Why are you running away? I was trying to videotape you. Alright. Will the neon tetras eat cherry shrimp? Yes, it's a possibility too. Once again, the rock pile thing, that would be your best way to get away with it. You gotta think tetras are little piranhas. They'll hunt. Oscar Ramirez says, hello LRB, have you ever kept Australolevis nigropenis La Peregrina killifish? If so, what do you recommend to hatch the eggs? Have some eggs to hatch from Spain this 18th. So if you did get them from a killie breeder or somebody online that sent you the eggs, often they'll give you the date of when to add the water. I could not tell you what their incubation period is off the top of my head. I would think you'd be able to, it would be like all the rest of the Australolevis nigropenis, even if since the location type's a little different. Should be around the same as the rest, I would think. If you can find information on Google about them. But I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. What is the giant crypt in the middle of that tank? So, oh, this one is a balancé crypt. Which, look how gold its leaves are. Like the one upstairs. So this is the same crypt that I have upstairs. But look how red it is. Like it's got a lot of red and bronze and gold in it. Like super bronze. Like this camera's not doing it much justice. But you see that red vein just going down the middle of it. The leaves are actually really bronze. Looks more green on this camera. But it's actually the same one that I have upstairs. I think it's just with all this Indiana dirt that I got, has a lot of clay base in it. It's holding a lot of iron for that plant to keep those colors. Even though this is supposed to be a red Reuben sword, and technically if that was the case, this sword should be super red. This sword's always getting nibbled on though. It's starting to take off. If I had more time, I actually took care of it properly and take off all these weaker leaves here, this would be a really nice plant. But I don't take the highest care of it. I just let Mother Nature take care of it. There is a little red lotus trying to get in between it too. And it has babied off another plant. So this mama plant is trying to spread. Would be cool to actually let this plant take over the whole tank and have nothing but swords in the tank. I think that would be kind of cool. I would like to do a bazillion things with this tank. That's the problem with having a 240-gallon tank, is you just want to do a bazillion things with it, and there's so many different ways to do it. Wish I had 100 of them, but I don't. Grant Cook, thank you so much for your super chat. Sorry I didn't get to that before I disappeared off the chat, but thank you for the $5. Says, hey LRB, what are the plants in the tank we're looking at? Thanks for all you do. Keep up the videos. Well, thank you for your support again. Always appreciated. Thank you. So there is, I think this is a Reuben sword. It's barely hanging on. That actually might be a Black Knight sword. We got some Petit Anubias. We got the Balancea Crypt. Like I said, the red. Yeah, I think, or no, this is a red Reuben sword. Is that what I said it was earlier? I think that's what it is. And then the red Tiger Lotus. This stuff, I can't remember what this stuff is. But it looks cool. Neat little grass. I wonder, I can't. That's the hard thing about the plants. I got way too many of them. This is one of those tiger crypts. But its crown is always getting buried. So it often struggles. We got Rotalia Any. We got Rotalia Colorata. More Rotalia Any back there. And then this is the Venezuela, or what is this? No, the Vesuvius. This is a Vesuvius type plant. Looks a lot like the Sagittaria, or like a Val. But it gets real wily, real spirally. Another Black Knight sword. I can't remember. That might be, I can't remember what that's called. That's another rare plant. This is a Guza 2009, but it's constantly getting sand kicked on it, so it hasn't like really taken off yet. Once it actually gets started and up out of that sand, I'm hoping it'll really start going. Which I've had it for quite some time. You see that Colorado's, or that Rotundifolia's running. So many plants, so many tanks. A lot to remember, because I don't write any of this down. Like what's in what, I don't write any of it down, and I mean, I do my best. Let's see. Where would you recommend to get some really nice rare discus like White Dragon and such? I would talk to Papa Rhino for discus. He has a channel on here. PR Aquatics, which is Papa Rhino. As far as discus, then maybe Hans Discus if you get a hold of them. Do you have any ebook on your fish keeping methods? So I don't actually. I was planning on writing some books, but once again, I just haven't had time. Because I was going to turn my talk that I give to clubs, keeping aquariums natural and simple, into a book for people, just full of tips and tricks. That way they have something physical that they can just grab. Say they don't want to get on the internet, or they're not near a computer or whatever, they just want to take it with them. They can have it in their hand to actually help guide them through things. So hopefully someday I'll get time to do that. Ideal temp for Neos, I would say around 70, 72, 74. Within that area. They like it on the cooler 70 side. You can keep them in more, but that, if you're really wanting to breed them, that's what they really like. Let's see, hey Lucas, I was gonna start my fish house, build for breeding for profit. 2 weeks ago, this pandemic got serious, and I held onto the cash, hoping to build when we get positive news. Thoughts? So, it could really go either way. So if we have hyperinflation hit, the money's not really going to be worth anything. The physical asset will actually be worth more. But if we don't have hyperinflation, then it would be wiser to hold on to the money, because the security of a paycheck isn't always promised to everyone at this moment. So it's hard to tell which way it was going. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. Like, do I buy more physical asset with any remaining money, like extra food or whatever, you know? Or do I hang on to it? And I guess the answer to that would be maybe a little bit of both, and balance it like you do the tanks, maybe 50-50 or whatever. But I would say, as far as a business right now, I mean, it's doing pretty good. This is the normal season for it to do well, because a lot of people are still in their house. And once the weather starts warming up, there tends to be less, because there's more people just going out doing things. They're not in front of their aquariums just thinking about what they can do. Even though, like, to us hardcore people, that doesn't tend to matter. So there's always room for breeders. Let me say that. Home breeders, there is always room for them. We import about 90% of what we get in the aquarium hobby, so there's a lot of room for us. And if that ever were to have issues with shutting down borders and they can't ship fish or anything, and it comes down to just us home breeders, dude, aquarists are going to be hurting. But at the same time, if we get to that rate of society where it's like Hunger Games out there, then I don't think many of us would be as worried about our aquariums. So it depends on your passion level of the hobby too. A lot of variables. Like life, there's all kinds of variables. Wish I could read everything on here. I need to get up on my speed reading. They do have speed reading programs out there where you can actually teach yourself how to speed read, and they do actually work. I've gotten to like 1,600 a minute before. But it'll exercise your eyes. You'll feel it. Hi, from Germany. Your aquarium is beautiful. My favorite fish is a red-tailed shark. That's interesting. Very cool, Olaf. Thanks for sharing. And hello to Germany. Do you test your nutrient levels at all? So I don't. I know you can test like iron, magnesium, all that stuff, each one. I really don't have time to mess with that. I mean, with hundreds of aquariums, often you guys see, I don't know, not everybody knows my whole fish room, but oh man, I had a light go out up here. I'm gonna have to add new lights. Those aren't the shop lights. That's the only one I didn't replace. But I do have lots of aquariums all over the place, and to do all that stuff all the time, it would just eat up my time, that I'd have no family time. Oh yeah, Dead Fred 821. There's one called IQ that you can still find on Ware's forums. Yeah, that's the one I actually used, was the IQ speed reading program. It's really good. It just patterns your eyes to where you get used to reading it. And it's not like you're just reading with no comprehension either. And if you do it and test yourself, do not cheat yourself. Try to get that comprehension to the best you can get it. but it does work well, and I recommend that to anybody, because that can, oh my God, that can take you a lot of places. Because not only does it teach you how to read fast, but just like everything you see, when I go through like this fish room, I mean, I kind of speed read the fish room too. It just trains the mind to work quick, like pop up. And that's why often when I shoot my videos for you guys, like, I'm really like, oh man, check this out. Oh, we'll check that out. But you do gotta frame it and stuff. You gotta take your time, so. And not everybody is all up into that quick motion. A lot of people, they hate that. They'll be like, oh crap, you about made me dizzy. I can't watch this. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. Too much action. But some people love that, some people don't. Fine line. Any experience with Melanitania sexulineata taboo bill or rainbows in general with apisto pairs? So you can't keep them together, but as far as breeding, you can breed the rainbow fish with them. You can use spawning mops. The dwarf cichlids may predate on some eggs, but as far as the parameters, water, it could be soft, hard. They do like the higher temps when it comes to breeding, like towards 78, 80, which apistos like the warmer water too. So that's all great. Even if you're keeping, actually apistos, they prefer it around like 86 to 80 or even 82 and for breeding, and rainbows are fine with that too. So if you had a big enough tank, you could probably breed them all together. But those rainbow fish would definitely predate on those fry of the apistos as soon as they hatched and got a chance to. Now, apistos are mouth brooders and can protect their eggs, but they're not going to be able to protect them all the time. But if you're just trying to keep them together, you should be golden. Should be golden. Good day, mate, says Bongholio. Can sphagnum moss be actually grown in substrate? It can. So, well, I know it just hangs. I don't think you actually had to plant it, but I think you can. I think I've grown it a little bit in substrate. Now, I'm not saying you can grow it underwater, but substrate out of water you can, because I think it'll just grow like a moss anyway. But underwater, it will die. It'll live for a long time, but it'll eventually die. And it'll turn your water real acidic too, because it holds a lot of acidity within its plant. What are you guys doing over here? Why are you guys hiding? You guys are the show. Can I keep bluegill and tilapia? You could. You could. They're pretty much like the same fish. I don't know if you could crossbreed those. Would think you can. Do you have Java moss? I got a little Java moss, not much though. It's growing slow for me. How are the Shelleys doing? The Shelleys are doing great. They're still breeding out, hanging out, enjoying themselves, waiting for food right now. I need to clean their tank. But you can see they're super colorful. Well, maybe. Oh, come on, guys. See how dark that one is? Oh yeah, they're coming up. They're like, oh, food, food, food. Glares. Oh man, this glare. You can see they're getting a little blue on their fin too. These guys. And we got little babies. See the little guys? And that's in here with some endlers. All getting along. Alright, I'm gonna have to hop off here. We are way over an hour. Or well, 8 minutes over an hour. But still, that time flew. I can't believe it already is that late. I have to feed all these fish. As you can see, they're super hungry. Get back to all that. And yeah, so before they all get mad at me, I'm gonna have to say adieu. Because, well, these fish need fed. And I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, it would be nice of you if you hit that like button. I'd appreciate that. That'd be cool. And until next time, everybody, have a great one. I'll see you next time. Do, 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 do.